So the first question that we have for you, man, is what should the Pistons do with the number one pick?
Take Cade Cunningham. That's a very simple, easy answer. Do that. Sometimes simple is good, simple is better. But if you want to overthink it, they have to get an amazing package back for that number one pick. Like they have to get either number one or number two or number three and a bunch of other stuff. That's
Mm.
the conversation starter is we have to talk about number two or number three. I'm not going down to 7 or 14 or anything else. It has to be number two or number three. The only reason that you pass on Cade is that you feel like Jalen Green or Evan Mobley is the next best thing, and you're getting some other stuff to go along with it.
Mm. Okay. I'm not mad at it. Do you feel though that Detroit Pistons fans might be upset if they don't go with Cade at number one, but they keep the pick? They keep the pick, but they choose someone else.
I don't think there's a chance in you know what that they're going to pick Cade Cunningham with the number one pick. Make no mistake about it. The only way that they end up with something else is if they make the pick and trade it for some other stuff, similar to a what the Celtics and Sixers did a few years ago with Markelle Fultz and Jason Tatum, or if it's a Chris Webber type thing like that, it's a draft night deal that gets announced that way. They will pick Cade Cunningham with that number one
Mm.
pick. Whether they keep him or do something else is the only question that's here.
Yeah.
You feel strongly about the Cade Cunningham pick for the Detroit Pistons. Talk to us about his game and why you think he would be a great fit with the Detroit Pistons.
I think it works because he checks a lot of boxes for you and he fills a lot of voids. A ball handling guy who can shoot, who can play deep and play at four positions defensively. At 6'8", he can guard some smaller power forwards if you're in that type of lineup. But he can play the 1, the 2, or the 3 for you and do it very capably. He showed that he can create his own shot, good in the ISO, and that's what the Pistons need right now. Last year, they Jeremy Grant was really the only guy who could create and do that with the ball in his hands. And as they got toward the end of the season, they just didn't have a lot of other options. They had to run offense to try to figure out what they were going to do. That led to shot clock violations and a bunch of other stuff. You get a guy like Cade who can create a shot and play defensively that way for you and facilitate for others. Yeah, you just don't pass on that when you get that opportunity.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, how do you think Cade kind of fits in with the current roster that you all have now? Because I mean, obviously, anytime you're the number one pick, I feel like that's your top priority, and then you go from there. But considering the team that you have structured right now, how does he fit in with that specific roster?
Well, Pistons fans and everybody else has kind of parsed every word that Troy Weaver said in that lottery presser. But the most important thing that stuck out to me is they're not in a position to draft for need. And I think where Cade fits immediately is in that backcourt as that other off guard. But looking at what they did last year with Killian Hayes at the number 7 pick, he's traditionally a point guard, but then he also played off the ball a little bit and he looked to be a little bit more comfortable off the ball. So again, I think that's why you draft Cade is that it lets you flex and get some of these other guys in different positions, gets Killian off the ball, gets another scorer for Jeremy Grant, and just takes a lot of pressure off of everybody. And we're seeing with the Clippers, for example, that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard handled the ball a lot more, and they're not traditional. Even when they had Reggie Jackson, they had other guys bringing the ball up, and you're seeing more teams do that. So the point guard position and the point guard title isn't what it used to be, unless you've got a Chris Paul or somebody like that that's specifically your ball handling point guard. But there aren't very many of those guys left around the league anymore, anyway. And what I like about K2 is he had a chance to go to Kentucky and just be another guy, glide through the year and just say, you know what,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a number one pick anyway. Let me go to Kentucky, hang out with Cal, and we'll figure it out. He went to
right.
Oklahoma State and just said, I'm gonna be the star of my own program and carry all this weight. A lot of guys that do that gamble and they lose on that and they end up falling in the draft a little bit. That dude carried
Hmm.
that weight for the entire year and still was the number one pick. That's what I give him credit for that people don't maybe talk about quite as much as he could have taken the easy road, but he took a harder road for himself.
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
that makes
that's something to look forward to though in Detroit, like a guy that actually embraces and wants to be a star and wants to be a
that's
number
true.
one option and actually wants that pressure.
Yeah.
Not shying away from it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at Oklahoma, he was at Oklahoma State. He went up against Baylor, and Baylor was the best team in college basketball, just won a national championship, and he gave them boys work. So it's just kind of like he's a guy that believes in himself and he can be an alpha dog. So if it is some questions about his motor, I think going back to like college, like Rod said, it's like, yo, this is a guy that could have gone to Kentucky, but said, you know what, I'm not gonna go to Kentucky. I'm gonna go to Oklahoma State and I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna have this program built around me. I'm gonna have all this pressure on me. So I think it's gonna get interesting,
Yeah,
definitely.
and all due respect to Oklahoma State, without Cade, is that even an NCAA
No,
team? So
no,
you put
no.
NBA talent around him, and the guys that we talked about, and Jeremy Grant, and how much better can Cade be in that type of situation with a big time rebounder like Isaiah Stewart, with a scorer and defender on the wing with him, like a Jeremy Grant? How much better can he be in that type of situation? That's the part that I'm interested in seeing too. How he can elevate his game with NBA players around him.
I mean, it's definitely gonna be an interesting situation for sure. I'm just hoping, that front office doesn't do anything crazy come draft night.
You,
That's all I'm
you
gonna say. I'm not gonna say who should go number one or if they should trade it, but I'm hoping they don't fumble it. That's
No,
all. I hope they don't.
and that's the worry around here is that some deal is going to come up, and maybe he tries to be the smartest guy in the room and say, oh well, I can get 2 picks and future draft picks for all of this. Man, you got the hand, and you got the spades hand, and you got the big joker and the little joker. You don't mess around with trying to, well, let me finesse this. No, you take what you got and you roll with that.
The problem is sometimes
Yeah.
people try to overthink situation that they don't have to. Like this seems like a very layup kind of thing. Like, yo, it's very obvious what should be done here. Let's do it and keep it pushing. But I get it though. If a crazy offer gets thrown your way, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with listening. Ain't nothing wrong with
I
listening.
I don't know. It's very interesting because I like Cade Cunningham a lot. I think he's going to be the number one overall draft pick. But let me tell you something. Like, if they get opportunity, like you said, Rod, and they can get the second overall pick, second or third overall pick, and probably get Jalen Green, a guy to me that looks like he has the ability to be. He's kind of like a Kobe disciple. Hey, we can leave it at that.
But see, it's what's the and in that though? You
Yeah,
get you get
yeah,
Jalen
exactly,
Green
exactly.
and a
and
first
yeah,
a
that's
first
what.
round pick next year, and maybe a young guy that I feel good about right now. Then we can have that conversation.
Exactly.